Yo, what is up, my slimes? Welcome back to Hat Guy Animations. I've lived in Texas my whole life. I'm a proud citizen of it. From eating Tex-Mex every week, to listening to country music like gospel, to driving under that clear blue sky every summer for trips, I'm a Texan through and through. I love the state, and the country for that matter, but Texas politically has always been at odds with me. We're known as one of the deepest red states in the country, and that's partially true. Most people I know are Republican. Yet the state generally isn't too conservative. There's a large minority of Democrats, especially in big cities like San Antonio or Houston. However, except for in the big city centers, our representatives to Congress are far more conservative than most in the state. Think Ted Cruz, Troy Nehls, and the like. Those real gun-toting yeehaw folks. And that's the real issue with Texas. This government doesn't stand for me. Let's take it back a bit. Back when Mexico was first allowing Americans in Texas, then Coahuila y Tejas, they were typically getting large swaths of land to ranch or open plantations. Slave labor was common. In fact, one of the lesser-known reasons of the revolution was the banning of slavery by Mexico. After the Texas Revolution and the rise of men like Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin, we started to see the Texas that most know. It was one of lots of freedoms and limited government. It wasn't too stable, though. They were collecting so much debt without being able to pay it off that it was annexed into America to escape it. After being incorporated into the Union, it became firmly a southern state, wrapping itself into the antebellum period. Lots of plantations popped up along the Gulf Coast, with vast stretches of ranch land in the south and west, like the famed King Ranch. It was the frontier, the bastion of freedom and liberty without government intervention. When Lincoln was elected in 1860, Texas seceded soon after, so they wouldn't tread on their states' rights, or, as Hamilton said, "We plant seeds in the South, we create, yet keep ranting. We know who's really doing the planting." During the Civil War, Texas became the state's storehouse. Cotton, crops, beef, all sourced behind safe lines across the Trinity. Few battles were fought in Texas, the only really notable ones being Galveston and Palmito Ranch. After the war, Texas went under military occupation during the Reconstruction period. During this time period, that is the late 19th century, Texas became a land of beef barons. Massive ranches uprose, with the cattle drives up to the Union Pacific Railroad the biggest events of the year. Cities like Fort Worth and the like grew along railroads and transfer points as places of cattle commerce. It was a growing economy of scale, with beef being shipped from grazing land across the plains north. In this time, the national image of Texas began to form, one of cowboys, cattle, and wide horizon. It's the romanticized view of the open West. It was a land of farms stretching across the horizon, ranchers patrolling the range, and outlaws roaming the plains. For a couple decades, the cattle industry defined the state of Texas, but all that began to halt once the open range closed. In 1867, inventor Lucian Smith invented the barbed wire, becoming commercially available with the help of Joseph Glidden in 1874. This cheap metal fencing solution was widely implemented across the open range, closing the previously open lands that the cattle crossed. Due to barbed wire, the widespread implementation of cattle drives and the true golden age of cowboys had come to an end. It still held on to its fame as the cowboy lands, but the real Texas was changing fast. That was until Spindletop. Beaumont, January 10th, 1901. Anthony Lucas is performing exploratory drilling on a gas sink called Spindletop. It's rough going, with lots of quicksand and tough drilling. But on that fateful day, the first and longest gusher of American history occurred. For 9 days, a total of about 900,000 barrels of crude oil was blown out of that drill. Oil reserves were found across Texas, like the Permian Basin in West Texas near Midland, and the later Eagle Ford shale deposit where fracking was implemented. This rapid rush of money led to many boomtowns, especially Beaumont, popping up across the state. The population skyrocketed, and so did the money in the state's coffers. Texas oil reserves makes it one of the most plentiful areas of drilling in the world, with the likes of Venezuela, Arabia, or Thailand. And this growth led to a lot more immigration from other parts of the nation, leading to much more diverse populations in urban areas. However, the conservative nature of Texas from back in the Reconstruction period continued. Still voted blue in the 50s and switched red with the party swap. But now things are changing. Young folks, especially in urban areas, are becoming more involved in politics and vote bluer. Counties like Harris and Fort Bend are really blue, but there's simply more population in the small towns littering the countryside. And also, Texas, having had a conservative state government for decades, has a lot of gerrymandering. Let's take the Houston area, for example. You can see just how messed up the borders are. There's packing of all sorts through the urban areas of Houston, as well as predominantly black communities like the 3rd Ward and TX29. There's also some absolutely cursed borders cracking downtown voters by combining them with all the majority Republican voters in the Woodlands with TX18. Same thing with TX38 and TX7. You can see there are little tails reaching into downtown and expanding out to the suburbs. This practice ends up with Republicans and conservatives dominating the election cycles year after year. There's no conceivable way for Democrats to get a majority in most districts. You'll have pretty blue areas be led by a guy who supported the January 6th riot while he was in the Capitol building. And what's so conflicting about Texas is that I've always loved listening to old country from the state, like George Strait from An Hour Out of San Antonio or Jerry Jeff Walker of Lukenbach fame. I have a cowboy hat. Back in school, I pledged allegiance to the Texas flag every morning. And there's so many good things about Texas. It's so diverse. Wonderful food. It's got top-notch healthcare, Houston especially. The cost of living is so low, too. But it's like my vote practically doesn't matter if it's just going to be dragged through the mud by gerrymandering. And it's difficult to express just how much I hate to see my and people like me's opinions not getting any say. What especially annoys me is when people think of Texas as red through and through. One of the biggest things that states like Texas need is the 50-state initiative. For context, the 50-state initiative is the idea that Democrats should put up a candidate in every race, even the ones in deep red states like Idaho, Wyoming, and yes, Texas. We need attention and an actual rally for disillusioned Democrat voters to come out and vote to get their voice heard. Too many times I hear that Texas is yeehaw cowboy land, and it's not. It's so much more than that. It's a land of cities, of open plains, of great people, of history, of beauty. And besides its flaws, it's my home, my Texas. And it can get better, and because of that, I'll never stop caring. Hey, thanks for getting to the end of the video. I'm running an experiment to see what direction my channel should go to since animations burn me out real quick. If you want more of these political video essays, like this video and subscribe. If you prefer Project Zomboid, George Strait, or more Minecraft animations, check out my channel. Thank you, you have a nice evening, and I'll see you in the next one.